Hello, my friends. So I'm back. Sorry for the little delay. Uh, I would like to continue our daily conversation. I invite you here to join me exploring existence, exploring reality, exploring our own true nature. And today I want to share something that expands on what we've been talking about uh, for a while now. But each time we talk about it, I hope we are expanding our understanding. I would like you to give me feedback, whether you agree, disagree. Hello, Aurora Carlson. Great to have you here. Hello, Brenda. Hello, Yoli. Hello, Paige. Hello, Virginia. Hello, my friends from all over the world. We're up to about 400. As soon as we get to about 1,000, we can start our discussion. So, hello, Saurabh from Calcutta. It's great to have you here. Hello, Sarkar. Hello, Carmen. Hello, Deborah. Hello, Cheryl. Hello, Christina. Hello, Elvira. Okay, so I think we're ready to start our discussion. So, I have been looking at a lot of books on neuroscience, and as I was going through my shelves, I found this very interesting book that actually I have had for a while. It's called The Secret Language of the Mind. The Secret Language of the Mind. And it has a lot of good references. And one statement here that stands out right in the beginning of the book, which talks about mind and matter, one special chapter. And here it says something very straightforward and clear. And what it says is, no biological phenomenon can explain first-person experience. I repeat that. No biological phenomenon can explain. No biological phenomenon can explain first-person experience, which is, by the way, all you have right now is first-person experience. You, as what we call a person, are having at this moment an experience of yourself. You exist, I exist. So you are having a first-person experience of yourself, also of me, also of what's ever in the perceptual space that you're projecting. That includes wherever you are, your body, your surroundings, the furniture in your room, the handheld device, me, and the painting, and what I'm saying, all is a first-person experience. Even the thinking and analysis of that is first-person experience. In fact, that which we call a person is a continuum of first-person experiences, personal experiences, which can span a whole range of experiences. There's the experience that or feeling that I exist. There is the feeling that so-called others exist. There's the feeling or experience that furniture exists and objects exist, that the universe exists. But also, not only is there a feeling, there's an interpretation of that, there's a liking and disliking. In other words, there is the contents of awareness and their interpretations, which are also contents of awareness, right? Everything that you experience is a content in awareness and also an interpretation also in awareness. The contents of awareness, of course, perceptual activity, and all of us have bits and pieces of perceptual activity. We don't have the whole, okay? With bits and pieces of perceptual activity, we can never know the whole. But we take those bits and pieces of perceptual activity, which we also know are misleading. But we take those and then we reify the limits of our perceptual activity and call it the physical world and also the physical body. The physical world includes inanimate objects that move in relationship to each other either through electromagnetic exchange of energy at a microscopic level or the forces of gravity that we call the forces of gravity, the curvature of space-time. So that's how we see inanimate objects, at least we explain the movement of inanimate objects, and then we explain our own movement through intentionality. I lift my hand up, that begins as an intention, and everything else that happens is so-called physical. So neither perceptual activity nor cognitive understanding of that perceptual activity actually is explainable through a biological process. And that, of course, is also referred to as the hard problem of consciousness. Okay? The hard problem of consciousness is that the physicalist ontology of the universe, which means if we assume that matter and physical entities are the ontological primitive of the universe, which means the fundamental activity of the universe, then we cannot explain any experience, including the experience of that which we call physical matter. Okay, so we cannot explain any experience, whether it's perceptual or cognitive, or experiences like thought, feelings, emotions, images, sensations, perceptions, insight, intuition, creativity, imagination, vision, memory. None of this can be explained through biological processes, which at a very fundamental level are the movement of biomolecules, and even more fundamental level, they are actually ionic exchanges along cell membranes and so on. But none of this can explain any experience whatsoever, including the experience of doing science. Okay? So, that's good. Why? Because that which we call biological phenomena is also an experience in consciousness. Period. Neural correlates, brain, epigenetics, gene expression, ribosomal RNA, and everything else that we talk about biological phenomena is the interpretation of first-person experience. So the fact that we call ourselves biological organisms is an explanation for the experience, this experience, this body, the brain here, the mind here. So biological phenomena are human explanations for first-person experience. And therefore, all biological phenomena are human constructs and human knowings in human consciousness, and they're given names: mind, body, sensory perception, motor activity, color, shape, form, sound, fragrance, flavor, texture, hardness, softness, glistening, bright, dark, pale. See, all these words are words given to modes of knowing and interpretation of experiences which basically means modulations of the self. You don't hear a sound. When you hear a sound, you are the sound. Consciousness is the sound. You don't see objects. Seeing is the creation of form and color and shape, labeled as objects. You are present as awareness in every object of experience. Doesn't matter what it is. iPhone, book, me, Milky Way galaxy. So actually, everything you experience, whether it's a book or a hand or these glasses or my nose or your own nose or looking at a mirror, everything you experience is a symbolic representation of yourself. The true self is non-symbolic, and when you abide in the true self, you experience what is called non-symbolic identity that can assume any identity. This non-symbolic activity is knowing yourself as the highest truth. It is knowing yourself as infinite possibilities. It is knowing yourself as expressing itself through conglomerates of qualia patterns, archetypal patterns, that we reify as the objects of our experience. This non-material fundamental self is self-organizing. It organizes its own activity. It is self-regulating. It is self-evolving. It is creative. It is the source of all experience, but it is also the source of all volition. So fundamentally, the true self is the non-symbolic source of all symbols, and we end up calling them mind, body, universe. Only the formless is real. Only the formless is eternal. Only the formless is timeless. And only the formless is malleable enough to morph itself into infinite forms. Infinite forms. Okay. So, the key then is to identify yourself only with your formless being. Shutting off the senses is called pratyahara. And then that gives us an inner glimpse of what is happening in the subtle realms of mind, body, intellect. And as we navigate a little bit past these secret passages, dark alleys, ghost-filled attics of the subtle realms of mind, body, intellect, and go a little bit past them, treading very carefully between the qualias, we end up in this amazing loka of all lokas. Amazing loka, source of all lokas. Remember, lokas are Sanskrit words. The English equivalent of loka is location. And location is never in space-time, because space-time is actually, as my friend Don Hoffman says, the user interface, the visual user interface for the playground of what I would call Leela, and the playground of the measured finite reality. The measured finite reality. And so the formless and that which has form are complementarities, just in the same way as sound and silence are complementarities, in the same way as light and shadow is complementarity, the same way as wave and particle are complementarities, the same way as transparency and solidity are complementarities. It is these complementarities that the formless uses to express itself as infinite forms and phenomena. And where is you in all this? Where is you in all this? You are a monad of consciousness. But the monad is also infinite. The ocean is infinite, the drop is infinite. And when we use perceptual activity, we should understand that perceptual activity is actually what causes the notion of both the observer and the observed. In every snapshot of perceptual activity, there's a provisional observer and observed. But actually seeing is knowing yourself as the scenery. I'm repeating it. Seeing is knowing yourself as the scenery. Hearing is knowing yourself as the sound. Okay. Tasting is knowing yourself as the flavor. Smelling is knowing yourself as the fragrance. Touching is knowing yourself as the texture. You are it. In every experience, you're present as yourself being the awareness that makes that experience possible. Okay? Just remember this today. Seeing is knowing yourself as the scenery. Because in the deeper reality, seer and scenery are both the product of seeing. Perceiver and perceived are the product of perceiving. And perceiving is the modulation of awareness as it seeks infinite expressions of itself as multiverses and more. In Rumi's words, when I die, I will soar with the angels. When I die to the angels, what I shall become, you cannot imagine. That's it for today, my friends. And just remember, there's no biological explanation for experience, because the desire to explain is in consciousness, and once you explain something, it's a convenient way to navigate experience, but it's not the truth. Our senses are deceiving us, and the body that you look at is not the body there is. That body that you're looking at, yourself, mine, all bodies are proportionately as void as intergalactic space, and even that space is imbued with consciousness, and even the few random dots and spots that you might see in that formless body are made of formless space. You are the infinite nothingness manifesting as the infinite everythingness. Everythingness. Infinite no thing manifesting as every possible thing. Take care, Shali. Take care, Paige. Take care, Shalina. Take care, Tanya. Take care, Chris. Wonderful Ramanand Dixit. You already know all this, so thank you for hanging in there. And thank you, Aurora. Thank you, Janet. And we'll continue our conversations, if you like them. What about disease? Dis-ease. Dis-ease is a movement away from self-regulation, which is at the most fundamental level before entropy starts. Okay, enough for today. Thank you.